This whole situation is on me. I feel terrible for Jerod because I put him in an untenable situation. I know that he has all the tools as a head coach to be successful in this league. He just needed more time before taking the job. In the end, I'm a fan of this team first, and now I have to go out and find a coach who can get us back to the playoffs and hopefully championships.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. On the heels of the firing of one Jerod Mayo, there's Robert Kraft, owner of the Patriots, letting you know exactly how that went down and why it went down, which is what we're here to talk about. That in the end of the season, we've been waiting for this day for 18 weeks, 17 after week one was good. You're muted.
No, week one was like one of those things where we're like, yeah, this is gonna be an awesome season. We just beat the Bengals. We're gonna be great this year. We're contenders again, probably make the playoffs. And nope, wrong.
We had no plans to do this show before week one, and we were like, holy shit, they won. We should do a Patriots show. And then it's been a mistake since then. But of nothing else, we are consistent, consistently simple and stupid, but consistent. But to be fair, we all actually called a lot of what was going to happen this season right from the get-go, right from the jump after week two or so. We asked for this to happen several months ago, and it finally did on the heels of hopefully what is just a last gasp of incompetence and losing the number one overall pick. So hold the Mayo. Jerod is gone. Coach Vibes is no longer in the building. It was short-lived. We will see what's next. We will certainly talking about that. The last game, we'll touch on a little bit there, but really the significance of that win. They did win, although it feels like a loss. The only thing that could overshadow the incompetence in that last week, which is the firing of Jerod Mayo, and really the rapidness once it went down. So as we always do, we are missing Bobby and his pros, cons, and observations today. He's got the poops, but that's okay. We'll do our best. Let's do some opening takes, right?
Some rabbit pellets coming out of his butthole. Yes, thank you there, Richard. The only thing I want the Patriots to do now is the due diligence and actually have an interview process. Everyone wants Vrabel to come through. He's going to be the white knight coming in and saving this franchise. But if he is, still do the due diligence. Go after Ben Johnson. Get an interview with him, that OC from Tampa Bay. Interview him. Just interview all these guys, all these candidates that are out there, and just do your homework. Because you know what? You thought you had the guy because you went to Israel and had a nice little talk with him. He wasn't the guy. You got to do your homework. The franchise needs it. We need to get back on track. So please, God, Robert, interview these guys.
Yeah, I agree with that sentiment. Certainly. I will give you something that I took out of his press conference. He was asked, I think it was by Bedard, our guy Bedard, was asked about the finances around this move of firing Jerod Mayo and the coaching staff and how expensive it would be to blow out an entire coaching staff, hire a new one with $120 to $130 million in cap space and fully expected to spend money. He was asked by Bedard if the hiring and firing of coaching staffs would affect the money being spent on the field. Robert Kraft gave a pretty lengthy answer to that. I'll sum it up with he believes they always spend to the cap, and if they ever spend over the cap, they ask for their coaches or their team to give them a 3-year term to kind of get back to normal. We can debate whether they actually do that or not. They've been proven to not actually spend cash. The least cash spending team in the last 10 years. We don't have to belabor on that. But what I will tell you is it's been 3 years since they spent money, since that free agent class with Hunter Henry. Robert Kraft ended that answer with, we're going to do – I'm sick of losing. We've had 2 seasons where I can't do another season like that, which is why Jerod Mayo's gone. I don't say this often, but they're going to spend money, and it is going to make an immediate impact. That is how things work. When you bring in talent, it will make an immediate impact. That alone will make this team better. So if you're looking for any rays of sunshine, outside of the fact that Mayo's gone, the Brinks truck is coming out. I saw you shake your head, Ray. You can disagree if you want, but hold that thought. We'll do it in the show. We are going to talk about the final game. A couple things to take out of that. Not much outside of losing the number one pick, which I want to talk on the repercussions of that, which seems to be overshadowed here by Mayo's firing. Of course, we'll get back to talking about all of the things surrounding that. And then, of course, what's next? What's the next direction? What's the next step? What's the immediate next step that needs to happen or is going to happen? We'll do all that in Week 18 snapshot. End of the Patriots season. Welcome to the show. The Celtics are dumb front-running pussies. This is the same team they have been for 4 years running.
Well, my worst nightmare came true. Missoula and Mayo are friends. What the fuck? Apparently they've known each other since Virginia. They have these docking sessions where they talk about ball and managing people.
Vacation. I'm gonna quay all these. I'm gonna fucking watch them this week.
Do you say quay?
Is it not quay?
It's Q. It's Q. It's Q-U-E. You idiot. If you're watching on YouTube, you're welcome. No Bobby today, so no new room. But there are two devilishly handsome bearded white dudes, so you're welcome on that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, please rate, subscribe, review. Tell your friends, as always, tell your mothers. Tell them about our newsletter. Comes out every week. We've got all the pods, all the blogs, all the content. We got new merch coming in. We've got behind-the-scenes content that you can only get with the newsletter weekly, including our top 5 segments, our behind-the-scenes, where we read The Athletic, ESPN, Boston Sports Journal, The Globe, The Herald. We take the top stories from those articles and distributors, and we summarize it for you, give you our little opinion, a little simple-minded opinion, but you don't have to read it. You also don't have to pay for it. So all you have to do is subscribe to the newsletter for that. And soon to come, Sammy Stacks, the newest, hottest handicapper in the biz, is going to be here with Simple Mind Sports. And again, you can only get that with the newsletter. So join here in the comment section or in the description, or just go to simplemindsports.com, go to newsletter and join. All right. Obviously, Mayo firing. What's next? That's the biggest story going down. I'm going to go reverse order here. We're going to do exactly what they tell us not to do. And don't start with the big stuff. We're going to start with the small stuff, which is just the game. Just the game, of which in Jerod Mayo's press conference, which came fast, quick, hot, and heavy after that game last night. Yesterday. It was yesterday, right? God.
Today's Sunday. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mayo, look, here's one thing I haven't heard because Mayo's gone. He's dead. Fine. Good. Mayo got outcoached again, and they're not like focusing on that part of it. The Bills wanted nothing to do with that win. Not just because they already locked up the second seed, not just because they didn't want to get Josh Allen hurt or their starters hurt. They were still playing guys for incentives. James Cook went out there and broke some single season records for this.
Von Miller did as well.
Von Miller got his sack. So that's what they're playing for. But make this very clear. Sean McDermott did not want his AFC East rival to have the number 1 overall pick, and he made sure it didn't happen. And Jerod Mayo, that walking dead man, that fucking buffoon and AVP, those idiots, walked directly into the hands of Sean McDermott and the Bills with a smile on their face as they're kicking Joey Sly field goals in the fourth quarter to go up by a touchdown. At that point, it was probably over already. By the time they got to halftime and had a lead, Sean McDermott was like, all right, well, mission accomplished here. We're putting in Mike fucking White and watching this dope.
Killed the clock in the fourth quarter. They were just running the ball, just milking the time. It was like a Bill Belichick-esque AFC East opponent that they used to play. Like Bill Belichick used to do this against the Bills, the Dolphins, the Jets, and now we're like that team now. We're the laughingstock of the AFC East.
It was chess versus checkers. No one talked about that going in. Of course, Sean McDermott doesn't want to get his starters hurt. He wants to do right by his players. He wants to keep guys fresh. So, couple possessions here for Josh Allen.
No, Josh Allen just had one handoff. That's it.
All of that is very standard, but no one talked about and we're also going to go to this game, boys, and we're not going to let that fucking team get the number 1 overall pick.
Mhm.
Okay, that's our goal today. James, you're going to get your money. Vaughn, you're going to get your money. Keep all you guys fresh, but those guys aren't getting the number 1 pick. And watch this. They're going to fucking take it. They're going to take that win and run to the bank smiling. I just like, what a cap on such a loser season filled with such stupid, moronic decisions, completely underwhelming and overmatched from the jump outside of Cincinnati, which is basically their own clusterfuck of an organization that can't get out of their own way. It was a microcosm for the entire season, I guess is my point from the coaching standpoint. Like, can't even see what they're doing to themselves.
The only thing I have a problem with is that if Robert Kraft knew that he was going to fire Mayo after that game, do it beforehand. Fucking just do it beforehand. Have Covington run the game. You know he's going to mess everything up, and just go out there and say we are going to lose. We need to lose. Put our worst players in at possible. Whoever our fourth wide quarterback is, let's throw him in there and let's see what he can do. And just do that. You needed to lose because now you lost all the incentives of that number 1 pick. You could have got so many trade assets from the tweet.
All right, hold on. There is an email,
right.
You dickhead.
I'm sorry.
That they did look. Drake May played a series or two, and then Joe Milton came in, set the world on fire. We have another Bailey Zappi situation on our hands.
No.
Half of the internet wants to trade Drake May because Joe Milton is the next great quarterback in the NFL. You are all a bunch of morons.
Mm-hmm.
Look, obviously Joe Milton showed. I think he's worth talking about. A couple really nice athletic plays. Looked like his accuracy was fairly good. Considering that was his biggest question mark coming into the league, but they were playing against the Bills team, playing their second and third stringers who actively were trying to lose that game as you were actively trying to win like a bunch of idiots. That comes back to coaching. So sure, if you want to fire Mayo before it, I don't think the impact is big enough to go that way. Also, like I don't know. I don't think that would have been I don't think that's a feasible situation. They probably also didn't think they had a chance to win anyway because they've lost almost every other game they've played this year. So I don't know.
But then why don't you tell Mayo, hey, I know you want to go out there and win. Like, our number 1 priority is getting that number 1 pick. Yes, that's a loser mentality to have, to go out there and not try to win a game. But when you have the chance to get all these assets, you try to lose that game at all costs.
You can't. I
know.
Pretty sure Brian Flores has a lawsuit against the league for the Dolphins trying to do something like that. So I don't think as ownership you can meddle like that. And they did. They sat Drake May. Mondre Stevenson didn't play. Javon Baker was in there. This is, again, purely on Alex Van Pelt, but really Jerod Mayo. When Joe Milton is out there running around, making plays, slinging his dick across the field, Alex, run it 3 straight times. Running back dive from the second quarter on. Running back dive. Running back dive. Running back dive. Yep. And so, we can move on to the Mayo thing. If he knew he was a dead man walking, we were told that Kraft did not tell Jerod Mayo until after the game. It does not feel like that, or at least he got back channeled the news that he was out.
Yeah.
So it's either another brash level of incompetence by the Patriots, losing the number 1 overall pick by winning that game because of coaching, or it's a desperate act to showcase to the NFL that of what AVP and Jerod Mayo can do, and maybe even Joe Milton maybe is doing. Jerod Mayo press conference was over the top. Where I'm here for the players. This is all about the players. I'm a players coach. Blah 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 blah. So it's one of 3 things: either incompetence again, a last ditch showcase for the NFL as a coach, or a true fuck you to the Patriots as he knew he was on his way out the door.
I'm going C.
The number 1 pick.
I'm going C. A total fuck you.
I mean,
because he's not going to get a head coaching job anytime soon. Like, he has to go through the coordinator route again. He might even be like a linebackers coach again. Like, he has to go back to square one to get back to that echelon if he ever wants to be a head coach again.
Yeah, I just that would infer that he has the capacity to actually think that far ahead and put a game plan in to try and win the game. Unless you want to put all that on the Bills who acquiesced, I guess you could do that.
Yeah.
All right, cut you off. How big a deal is losing the number 1 overall pick? At
Huge.
this point, go ahead. I'll just give you the draft order. You've fallen to 4th, so you have the Titans ahead of you, the Browns ahead of you, and the Giants ahead of you.
Yep.
We can talk about their needs and their possible moves in a second here, but go ahead.
I just think it's a huge mistake. I think you could have got a king's ransom for that number 1 pick. You see it every year when you don't need a quarterback. These guys will just trade everything and anything to get that next superstar. Cam Ward's that one guy, Shador Sanders,
Nice.
Deion Sanders' son. And then there's another quarterback out there that they're saying, I don't know who it is. I'm not a college football guy. Bobby's pooping his brains out. He would be the best one to know. But you could have got a next year's first. You could have got, traded back to number 3. You could have got another second-round pick. You could have got a wide receiver. I saw the Titans thing that you posted on our Instagram page. You could have got Calvin Ridley this year's first, next year's first. I mean, you could have got so much, and now you're at number 4, which you're going to be handcuffed to take that tackle from Texas. So now you're just fucked. I think you just fucked everything up with this winning this game.
Yeah, they left a number of options and assets on the table. Ones of which should not go understated. Jalen Monroe is the quarterback.
Oh, the Alabama, yeah,
who's rising up the
ranks.
That's the
one.
well.
That's the one.
Either way, that's the point that you just made. Can't people consider this not a very strong quarterback draft? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's not a strong quarterback draft. The NFL is so horny for quarterbacks and so desperate. They're so important that teams like the Giants and go down the Raiders who are below you. There's going to be a number of teams looking for a quarterback. That would have incentive to move up to the number 1 pick. And now the Titans, look, Will Levis sucks, but they did just draft him. Do they move the quarterback route? Do they stick and take a quarterback? Do they try to trade that pick? The Giants certainly are going to take a quarterback. Maybe they have to move up to 1 or 2, and those are assets. You have no leverage whatsoever at all for any team that wants a quarterback. You are not in that conversation. You're out. You have no leverage to trade that pick. None.
You're handcuffed now.
The best you get is like a 2nd and 3rd.
Yep.
The best, probably future 2nd and 3rd, where you were staring down, potentially moving down to the Giants or the Raiders, whoever else. You were staring down a top 10 pick this year, a 1st-round pick next year, a 2nd-round pick somewhere in the future, probably a mid-round pick, and maybe a named player. Minimally. That's what those 1st overall picks go for. And you fucked it away. And that's no insignificant loss when you are a 4 and should be a 3 and 14 team, 4 and 13 team, with no future and 6 years of pretty much shit in your past, and no talent. I mean, no fucking talent.
Nope.
It's not an insignificant loss. We don't feel it now because we're talking about the firing of Jerod Mayo and what's next, but we will. As soon as this draft talk starts to ramp up very quickly, we're going to go, Jesus Christ. As soon as that trade comes down for the overall pick or the 2nd or 3rd or whatever else, we're going to go, look at what you could have had.
Yep.
And we're going to watch that for the next several years. Instead, I'm with you. They're going to stick and pick it, and they should. They should take at number 4. You're still going to get a very good player.
But that tackle from Texas is a reach. I guess it's a very weak tackle draft as well. He's like the 10th projected player off the board. So obviously it's going to be a reach, but you have to take him. You have to go left tackle with that position.
I don't agree. There's that edge rusher from Penn State.
I think Cleveland's going to take him. Cleveland's going after that guy.
Well, it's too early to talk about the fucking draft.
I know, but that's what happens when you suck. There's playoff football going on right now, but we're not in it. So now we have to talk about the draft.
We have way bigger things to talk about than what the Cleveland Browns are going to do. And we're going to get
I know. I'm just saying that's what's projected right now.
This is what they have to do. They have to stick and pick. You're going to get a good player at number 4. But if it's a reach to take the left tackle, you don't do it. You pick a guy that's immediately going to bring you an impact. You got Drake May at 3 last year. You should have the best guy on that draft board. You have so many holes in your team. He will be a player in need. I mean, from center to safety, you need guys. Okay. So if it's the edge rusher from Penn State, if it's the wide receiver from Texas, where's the fucking whoever?
Travis Hunter from Colorado.
No, if it's the don't take.
I know that's your guy. That's why I brought that up. That's your guy.
The only guy you can't take. If it's the left tackle from Texas, this is what happens to draft boards. Everybody moves around and people get punts. I don't give a fuck. This is why you need a good front office. This is why the next moves are so goddamn important. You need to identify and nail it. Nail it. And don't fuck around and trade back to 12 or 13 and get another 3rd or 4th. No, don't Belichick it. You fucked it up already. Just at 4, take a guy. They should be an immediate guy that can play and be an impact for you. And that's what you need right now. You need immediate, impactful stars from the draft.
Can
And you should
Elliott-
get that at 4. You would get that if you had the number 1 overall pick. You still would have got that probably same player in a trade scenario, and you would have got next year's first-round pick from this team.
Yep.
But you fucked that up. So thanks, Jerod, you jackass. You fucking asshole. The amount of people that continue to say it's not Jerod Mayo's fault, shut the fuck up, okay? No shit. Robert Kraft said it initially. It was all his fault. We know it's your fault, Robert. It's 100% your fault. This decision was asinine from the jump.
Yep.
Sunday was not Robert Kraft's fault. That was Jerod Mayo's fault. He went out there and got outcoached by McDermott in a game they should have lost, and they actually won. He bamboozled the whole goddamn thing, whether it was out of spite or incompetence. I'm leaning incompetence. He fucked that up. He fucked this up. You can blame Jerod Mayo for losing the number 1 overall pick.
You know how you could say like Edelman would always get a free beer if he was in Massachusetts because of all the hard work he did, and like David Ortiz would always get a free beer because, you know, if Jerod Mayo's at a bar, they better not let this motherfucker in. If you're in New England, say, get the fuck out of here. You fucked up this situation so bad. You're not welcome.
He's got to have a limit of what is that? What's the our guy who went to pedophile would know.
Backwards?
Limit of statute
Statute
of limitations. Statute of limitations. Jerod Mayo's got like a couple year statute of limitations before he can come back here and have some beers. You got to go away for a while, dude.
Yep.
I slipped that one in there. Jerod Mayo fired under an hour after the game, I think. I wasn't keeping track, but the sun had not yet gone down, and we got news that Mayo was canned. That is not normal. Generally, we wait till Monday to the NFL firings, but maybe it's because, you know, Johnny Kraft has talked to Mayo 30 minutes after every game to just get the lowdown on how badly they fucked up. So they figured might as well do it now. He's here.
Yeah.
He's in the room.
Yeah. Well, it's funny too, because at the press conference they were asking him about next year. They were asking Jerod Mayo, "What's your thoughts about next year? How are you going to do it?" And he was answering like he was going to be here. So I think it wasn't. I don't think this was planned. I don't think that he thought he was going to be getting fired after the game on Sunday.
Kraft was asked if he told Mayo before. He said no. He said that they learned out, and that seemed pretty definitive. And that may be true. However, plausible deniability is real. And Johnny Kraft in the back with Robin Glazer. Kraft, can't you picture this? Robert Kraft. Johnny's been banging on his door all year. We got to fire this fucking guy. We got to fire this guy. After the Chargers game, Robert's like, "All right, Johnny, you got your wish, but here's what I want you to do. I feel bad for Jerod. We really screwed this guy. Through your back channels, just let him know he's gone after the season, and this is his last game. Okay, can you just let him know that? I'm not going to tell him that. We're not going to fire him. I have plausible deniability. And when they ask me in the press conference, I'm going to say we told him after the game, but Johnny, go make sure he knows. Okay." And then Jerod goes into the game and loses the number 1 overall pick. Again, hopefully it's just the last gasp of incompetence before somebody of the likes of Vrabel or Ben Johnson, whoever is next. Perfect segue, Ray or Rich.
No, you had it right, Ray. Thank you.
Thank you, Raymond.
Yep.
Into that. Before we get there, though, I do want to hear from Albert Breer, who just talked about kind of the growing end to Jerod Mayo's tenure here and kind of what it looked like. And it's Albert Breer, so it's a little bit long per usual. So bear with it, Raymond.
I think if you want to look back, I think there's been signs of this happening all week. And I think if you've talked to enough people in the organization, I hate to put it this way, but I think there was starting to be some dissension and some people pointing fingers in different directions. I don't think coaching and scouting were quite on the same page. I think there were factions on the coaching staff, and there's a lot of the stuff that you saw in 2023. So I think it was pretty clear that people there knew something was going to happen. And whether it was a single pound of flesh or the whole operation being blown up, someone was going to have to pay for what happened this year. And I don't think this reflects particularly well on the Krafts, but I think if they do what they did last year, which it feels like looking back at it now, they looked at last year as a single person problem, like Bill Belichick was the issue, then they're going to be right back here in a couple of years. That's the bottom line. I don't care if you bring Vince Lombardi in to coach. They do not have the infrastructure right now. I'm not even talking about players, and the roster is bad. They do not have the infrastructure to be successful in the NFL in 2025. Bottom line is more than one person. Jerod Mayo wasn't good in 2024, but there isn't any. There's a huge number of coaches who couldn't have done a whole lot more with what.
So there you go. See a smirk on your face.
He says a lot of coaches couldn't do a better job than what they had on that roster. I think any coach probably could have done it that had experience and wasn't a player's coach and actually got down to the nitty gritty and like yelled at these motherfuckers, motherfuckered them. You motherfuckers go out there and do your job. I think they would have probably had 6-7 wins.
Yeah, there were certainly games left on the table that were lost, probably due to coaching. I think the sentiment there, though, is the roster blows, and this is not.
Of course, this roster blows.
When
you have Kendrick Bourne as your number one guy, who was probably like a number 2 or 3 on any like good NFL team, yeah, you got some issues.
What I take out of that, which is I think the point he was trying to make, is the infrastructure within the organization is cracked, or better yet, fucked, and that's what happens when. And he said it in that post. This is why I like that clip. They thought it was a Bill Belichick problem, so they kept the infrastructure of Bill Belichick's franchise together from a 4-win team and expected it to work. They expected Jerod Mayo to be a miracle worker, and that's that never works. And the factions within the coaching staff, no shit. Jerod Mayo and Alex Van Pelt weren't even speaking. They couldn't even get the starting running back correct. They couldn't even get who was starting at quarterback correct. The incohesion in that franchise was at an all-time high. So it's the next steps that matter. And to now, Alex Van Pelt has been fired. Obviously, Jerod Mayo has been fired. I haven't heard of DeMarcus Covington, but that should be coming, or maybe they just want to announce it because he is so insignificant. The guy that is still there, that was talked about in Belichick's Kraft's press conference, is Elliot Wolf. In addition to all his staff, the entire front office is still intact. People are freaking out over that, saying that it's an issue. And I did it initially at first too, but Bernard made a good point in the post-game show for the Patriots. You don't blow out your personnel staff because you still have work to do. Like, the NFL season doesn't stop. They've been doing scouting all season from the pro level and the college level. They have to start getting ready for the free agency. They have to start ready for draft. So those people are still employed, and some of them still may be good enough at their job. It just depends on who's calling the shots. And the other piece I took from Kraft's press conference today, when asked directly, would Elliot Wolf be a part of the hiring process for the coach? In short, yes. However, that coach, out of Kraft's mouth, said the coach will pick his GM and his coaching staff. So I'm not worried about Elliot Wolf picking the groceries here moving forward. I think they're keeping him around to continue this process. I think they have plans to make their coaching pick very quickly. It's probably Vrabel, but they're going to go through the due diligence. They got Ben Johnson coming in. Luckily, Lions won, so he can now interview. He doesn't have to go. If they had lost, they would have to wait till the conference finals week. So that was it. That's in their favor. And then they got to interview 2 minority candidates to fulfill the NFL.
That's why Covington's still here.
Maybe.
I don't know if you listened to Felger and Maz. Felger's opening take was pretty much that don't be surprised, like everyone's in an uproar that the front office is still here. He's gone. Elliot Wolf is gone. He has that fake label. Don't be surprised. It's basically because Kraft doesn't want to go down there and do paperwork, pretty much. Like Jonathan and Robert don't want to go down there and do all the scouting reports and all that bullshit, all the paper pushing. This is why Elliot Wolf's still here. He's going to be gone no matter who the next head coach is. It's going to be, like you said, Rich, it's going to be whoever they want. So he's gone. So that's
more than likely. And interesting enough, when he was asked that question in the press conference, and I can't remember Elliot Wolf's number 2, the assistant quasi GM. Anthony something, I think. Sorry, I just, it's not on top of my head. That's the first guy Kraft mentioned when they said, will Elliot Wolf and his staff be part of the coaching search? And he said, well, Anthony, sorry, I don't remember his name. He will be in here, and kind of almost under his breath, knowing the response he was going to get. It was like, and Elliot's still here too. So they will assist us in that process. But the coach will pick it. So, yeah.
Because you never see that. You never see a coach get fired and then the GM stays put, because you got to have, it's one of those things where they're working hand to hand, because you got your scheme. You want to be able to have a GM that's going to go out there and pick players and draft players to help your scheme out. So I don't think Elliot Wolf has much time left here. Neither does Covington. I think everyone's going to get blown out. Everyone's going to get pink slip.
Of course. Whoever's coming in, whether it's Johnson or Vrabel, or you got a wild card, dark horse, and Bucks offense coordinator Liam Cohen, which I think is in play if Vrabel screws you or if Ben Johnson just laughs you out of the building in his interview.
I think Ben Johnson's going to laugh you out of the building in his interview. I think it's Vrabel. It's pretty much Vrabel, but like you said, you got to go through the process.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can get our opinions on this. They are going to go through the process. I haven't heard them schedule an interview with Vrabel. We did get that report before the game on Sunday that Vrabel had taken that interview with the Jets as basically a leverage point for the Patriots. Either, look, I'm interviewing, so come hire me, or I'm going to go to the Jets and make your life a living hell for the next couple of years. We have that clip as well.
It was interesting this week. I think it was a big bit of Patriots news, even though it was veiled as Jets news, was that Mike Vrabel went and interviewed first with the Jets before the 2024-2025 regular season even ended. And I know there are several people in the league that I've spoken to who believed and who saw that move as calculated by Vrabel. And as Vrabel shaking his tail feather from a few hundred miles away down in Jersey at the Crafts and letting them know, if you want me, you might have to act fast or you'll have to deal with me in the division for the next decade, potentially. And so this is one way of making sure you're ready to go when it comes to that Mike Vrabel sweepstakes.
That Phil Perry, he's got a real boy band face, doesn't he?
He does. He does. Like, maybe not like the lead singer, but probably like a background guy, like a Kevin from Backstreet Boys.
Yeah, he's got a real sweet, tender face. That voice, those pipes, you can see why. There you go, Vrabel, certainly the leader in the clubhouse. He'd be my pick. I asked for it, I don't know, weeks ago. Vrabel and Josh McDaniels. And Josh McDaniels specifically because from a defensive head coaching standpoint, these offensive coordinators come and go, and then you have to replace them, and it's hard to do. And with Josh McDaniels, he's never getting another head coaching job. He has succeeded immensely in New England, even with Mac Jones, of all people, under center, obviously inflated with Tom Brady. But that's, I mean, I asked for that weeks ago. Why are you yelling? Why are you shaking your head?
Because I said that in a text exchange. You said I was stupid.
No, I didn't. You fucking moron. In your text exchange. No, I'm not going into the text exchange. I said, I think I wrote a blog on this. Vrabel and McDaniels are the guy. I said this weeks ago, months ago. I said that's who they need to go with because McDaniels.
Oh, it was the Doug Peterson thing. It was the Doug Peterson.
My fucking take weeks later because your brain can't hold that much information at one time.
No
you
shit.
were asked if Doug
Peterson would be a. And I said because he'll never get a job because he played for loser organizations. What you said, and I said no because he coached for the Jags. That's not really
again. That's also wrong. You said that he would be out in 2 years because he would leave for another organization. I said, well, he's also failed at 2 head coaching positions, so that might not necessarily be true. McDaniels wasn't even mentioned. He was just alluded to from my previous thing. I can't.
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You had a snowstorm today. I'm sorry, baby.
God damn it. Kids at home.
It was a very nice meeting. It was a very nice move with meeting with the son with Addy just crawling over your head. The next move is getting a head coach. That's the next move.
Who?
It's Vrabel. It's going to be Vrabel because that's what everyone wants. Vrabel wants to come here. It's no secret. He pretty much said that when he came for the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. He's like, I miss New England. Like, I'll always be a Patriot, blah, blah, blah. I miss playing up here. I miss being up here. It's Vrabel. It's going to be Vrabel.
Yeah, he should be the guy.
Which why I don't mind because like everyone says, bring an offensive mind in here because the NFL is all about offense. I would like the Vrabel thing because he's a defensive minded head coach. And if you bring McDaniels in, if McDaniels comes and that's the offensive coordinator, I think you got a perfect marriage right there.
Yeah, I don't hate it. And how many hotshot young offensive-minded coaches have gotten an opportunity here in the NFL in recent years? How many of them actually succeeded? McVay.
Zach Thomas.
Who?
Zach Thomas.
Who's that?
That's the Cincinnati Bengals.
Where are they?
He went to the Super Bowl.
Did he? What has he done after that?
They just had some bad luck this year. They fired their defensive coordinator.
What happened to his OC in Tennessee this year?
He got fired.
How about Mike McDaniel? How's Miami doing?
Well, Tyreek Hill doesn't want to play there anymore.
Even the allotted Kyle Shanahan can't even make the fucking playoffs this year.
A lot of injuries.
I'll give you Kyle Shanahan's a good coach. Obviously, that's a bad example. I'm just putting it out there. McVay and now the kid in Minnesota,
Kevin O'Connell.
Kevin O'Connell seems to be a pretty decent coach, but the thought of Ben Johnson, just because he's the hottest new offensive mind, going to a team like the Patriots, who need a complete, utter spined reconstruction. They need to rebuild their franchise. A first-time head coach in that position, just because he's a good offensive mind, scares the fuck out of me. I am Team Vrabel, I think his ceiling is higher now as a second time head coach. He spent this year consulting on offense side of the ball. So he spent 6 years in Tennessee. 3 out of the 6 years, he had a team, his offense ranked like mid-tier in the league with Ryan Tannehill. The other 3, they were a top 5 offense. So I don't want to hear about Mike Vrabel and his down years in Tennessee.
Do you think bringing Vrabel in would be like a Detroit thing, like with the Dan Campbell, like a hoorah guy, a fucking nonsense?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, like a defensive-minded guy. Then you have Ben Johnson, who's the offense. You bring in Josh McDaniels. That's like pretty much how Detroit's set up.
Dan Campbell's an offensive mind. He came from the offense side of the ball, and I think
special teams. I believe he's a special teams guy.
No offense. Mike, I think he coached on a number of areas, but he came from offense, and he took over offensive play calling in Detroit. You don't have to look it up. I'm right. Or you can look it up and tell me I'm right on here. It's fine.
Okay, keep it talking.
Mike Vrabel will coach circles around hoorah, but
of course.
He is a football mind. We don't like this, but he came from
right.
Thank you. He
You're
came
welcome.
from Cleveland this year, which is very analytical. Anyway, Mike Vrabel's a better coach.
Of course. I'm just saying, like that's the setup you have. Like
you need a strong personality that has experience in the coaching staffs, that understands the NFL. As much as people go one way or the other in this, but he has experience in New England, which is important to the Crafts, which should be important to your team. So there's there's cohesion there, right? That's important to the Crafts, so it needs to be important in this hire. There needs to be cohesion from top to bottom. I just think he's the best fit. I think he's the best fit to give you a solid start at an actual rebuild, not an interim year with some fucking guy that impressed you in 2008 and you were afraid to lose him. So you gave him a 5-year contract before the greatest coach of all time could even sniff the door on his way out. Just an absolute disastrous decision and judgment by Robert Kraft with the Jerod Mayo. Hopefully they've learned their lesson and they're about to hand the entire thing over to the likes of Mike Vrabel.
Before we go, can I just ask you one question?
Yes.
Do you think Mike Vrabel's already hired?
No.
You don't think Robert Kraft already called him and said, "You're my guy, like do your other interviews, but you're my guy, like I'll pay you whatever you want. The kingdom is yours."
I think NFL back channels are very real. I think probably when they got a sniff that he was going to the Jets, some type of communication might have landed on him. But technically, no, he can't already be hired. They would,
of course. I'm just saying, like a kind of wink, wink, nod, nod, like you're coming here, kind of thing.
Maybe. I hope not. Really, unless
I just think they're that dumb that they would do that. Like after failing miserably with Mayo,
they're going to lose him, like they're fearful that they're going to lose Mayo, and they jumped the gun on it. But Vrabel should, be willing enough to let them go and learn from the experience of trying to find a new coach. Like that experience in itself is beneficial to the Crafts and the Patriots to see what else is out there, garnish ideas. They should go through the whole goddamn thing.
Exactly. But I just think they're that dumb that they are really like, "Hey, Vrabel, you're our guy."
Maybe. Well, there'll certainly be more to come. It'll be an interesting few weeks. But that's it for us here. Monday snapshots are back next season.
We're over.
Until then, you can catch us on Thursday nights live on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, or the podcast Friday, Mondays, and Wednesdays. But what you want to do is join the newsletter so you don't miss any of it. Again, right here in the comment section or in the description, right here. I don't know. I never really actually know where it goes. See you Thursday. Bye-bye.
Bye.